So the topic today is how the 4 levels of value. The 4 levels of value are so important because once you understand them, it actually makes all the difference as far as your dream is concerned. Last time I made the analogy to say there are 4 levels of value. First level is, let's do it this way. First level is imagination. Actually, I love to put it in a descending order. So the first level is, think of it as a pyramid. Let's think of it as a pyramid or as a level from up, bottom, going up like this, right? So the first level you have is implementation, which is the lowest level of value. Then after that, you have unification. And then after that, you have communication. And then the highest level value, which means more value, is called imagination. So what I was saying is, and of course you can number these 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth being the one that has more value. Your dream can be anywhere along this spectrum of these 4 levels of value. So let's say you want to, for the most part, the dreams you guys told me, they could be anywhere. But specifically for what Elizabeth said, becoming debt-free, you cannot do it, or you can do it, but very hardly at the implementation level. So if you have a level, like I said, if you have a level 4 dream, but you're operating at level 1, like it becomes impossible to actually achieve that dream. But if your dream requires more value, then you need to start operating at a higher level, okay? Now, having said that, let me go into the 4 levels of value and explain them. I learned this from a guy called Myron Golden, where he talks about the 4 levels of value. And as you can see here, there is implementation, unification, communication, and imagination. And we'll be going into all that in this session. What I'll do here, because I am going to be a little bit busy when I start presenting, I get a little bit absorbed into the presentation. So I'll make one of you co-hosts. That way, if somebody joins, you can just admit them. If you don't mind, Elisa, I'm going to make you the boss of the meeting. So here we go.
All right. Hey, I will keep an eye.
All right. Thank you so much. Means a lot. So now let's go to the definition of the 4 levels of value. So it says here that the 4 levels of value are about the value you provide. So everyone here wants to provide value, right? We're here because we believe that we have something to give to the world. We all want to provide value. But what type of value are we providing is the question. As a worker and as a business owner, and the amount of money you'll be able to make. Now, this is interesting because the value you provide is directly proportional. Value is, I forgot the sign for directly proportional. My math days are gone, but is directly proportional to the money you make. Because money, people give money in exchange for value. So if you want more money, what's the obvious conclusion, or what's the obvious path to get there? If you want more money, then you need more value. Okay? So very important. So 4 levels of value, we all are created to provide value. We have some value we want to bring to the marketplace. However, that value is categorized in a different format. So the lower levels build up to higher levels. Where you work will give you opportunities to make more money. Let's begin with implementation. So implementation is the level 1. And like the word suggests, I hope you can see my screen okay. Can you?
Yeah, I can, and I hope they can.
Awesome. So in level 1, You are the person who does the thing. So implementation means you implement. You are the one who actually do the work. You complete the tasks. So for example, in Alyssa's case, I don't know if you're the one who does the video editing or recording. And then when you're working at implementation, it means you are your own, like you're all alone, pretty much. You do everything. So you take the picture, you bake the cake and so on. And in this level of value, even if you stretch it, you can only make up to about 80,000 a year. Up to 80,000, even if you stretch it, because you are the one who's actually doing the work. All right. Now, the second level of value is unification. And with unification, what it means is you are the person who unifies. So you are the manager, right? So you manage people and you manage resources. We could also consider people as human resources. Have you guys ever wondered why do managers get paid more when sometimes they actually don't even do more work? It has nothing to do with the work they're doing, but the value they're operating at. So managers are operating at the level of unification. And because of that, because they're providing more value or a different category of value, they get paid more for the value. So you find that for managers, they'll make from 80,000 to 250K every year or per year. All right. Interesting, right? Now, this is just the second level of value. If I can bring my triangle here again, my pyramid. Actually, that won't work. Pyramid won't work. I'll just have my little line here. So if I bring up again implementation here, implementation, unification, communication, and imagination being the last one. And please forgive my handwriting. What you find is that up to this line, which I think I should give it a different color, but up to this line here, this is the magic line. This is the magic dividing line. If you truly want to create wealth, you have to forget about operating at this level. Forget this level. If you want to create wealth, it's created from here going up. Wealth is created at the level of communication and imagination. Implementation, unification, well, you can only make so much, maybe up to 250K. But if you want to make more, if you want to be in the millions and in the billions, then you have to think communication and imagination. And in a moment, I'll show you where all these 4 levels of value came from. Let's look at communication. Communication, this is for, and I'm glad most of you are operating at communication actually, which is interesting. So communication are people who communicate, who use their mouth to make money. You have actors, singers, public speakers. Resource is their voice. It's about communication. And the income range for them is between 100,000 to lots of money, to like millions. But then I have a question for you guys. Why do you think people who operate at communication make more money than those who do at implementation, like those who are actually digging the gold, those who are actually moving the boxes? Why is it that those who are communicating, singing, selling, using their mouth, why do you think they make more than those who are actually using their hands and digging and doing the work? Anyone?
I guess communication is like they're selling products and people have to listen. They're advertising, it's like the advertising again.
Yeah, that's true. They actually use their mouth. what's interesting, the four levels of value is not something that just came up. Like I said in our first initial session, like I am like a deep believer that we are created by God and we are created in his image, and his image means to create, among many other things. And so we are created to create. So when God is creating the world, obviously he's the one who actually lays down the foundations of value in the very essence of creativity. And there's something that really catches your attention if you're looking at Genesis 1, and that's that God said, "Let there be," and it was. Like, how is that even possible? So God, to create, he used words. So what that means is that communication, guys, communication is divine. Not only is it divine, it's a godlike quality, or it's a godlike attribute. Because look at this, right? Of all the animal kingdom, right? No animal has the ability to communicate like we are doing right now, to audibly exchange a thought with another. So right now, I've been speaking for I don't know how long now, and I'm hoping that you can hear what I'm saying and then you can digest it. That is a spiritual thing. And I'm not over spiritualizing anything. I'm just showing you how unique communication is, because elephants can trumpet and make their noise. Lions can roar. Chickens can do their little things. But none of these animals has the ability to form intelligible speech. And that's because communication is a gold mine. And God used communication to create. We too have the ability, actually, although in a smaller scale, to use our words to actually make impact and to create. And so those who use their mouth to, what they use their mouth is to make messages that move the masses. If you can craft a message that moves the masses, that the masses or the people, like a huge number of people, can connect to, then it's just a matter of time. Because what a comedian does, for example, is he uses his mouth, he says something that many people connect to, and then from that, he's able to make his income, whatever. Because at that level, he's providing real value to those that are listening to him or her. All right? So that's one of the interesting things about communication. But if you look at the last level of value here, which is the highest, it's called imagination. And I really love imagination because isn't it funny that people, like, can you give me an example of a billionaire that you know or a millionaire? Any. And hopefully I would know them.
Rihanna.
Rihanna, okay. That's at communication level. But even her, she is not just singing. She's turned that singing into an idea. And what imagination is about is to say that your mind is your greatest resource to create wealth.
So thinking about Bill Gates?
Even Bill Gates, like any person who's a billionaire is a billionaire. Like this.
Elon Musk.
Even Elon Musk. The funny secret to being a billionaire is that all it takes to be a billionaire is your brain. That's all. Like the brain operating not at implementation, not even at unification, not even at communication, but your brain has to level up to imagination. Because imagination is, again, a godly attribute. Animals cannot, obviously they can think and all that, but animals don't have the ability to form an idea to improve upon themselves. But we do. Think about this. Horses 100 years ago have always remained horses. They have never invented anything. Cows have never invented anything in their entire history of existence. But Just this year alone, how many things have we invented as human beings? How many things have we created so far? Crazy things. And all that is attributed to the power that God has given us, imagination. The ability to create is what it is. Because with imagination, you need an idea. You need something that hasn't been done before, something that doesn't really exist, and you bring it out and say, here it is. So this is where the millions and the billions are made. Like I said in our first session, everything around you, everything in the room you're in, or in the room that I'm in, was once an idea. Once upon a time, everything was once an idea. And that should tell you the power of ideas. That maybe just you're one idea away from your breakthrough. Because once you have a good idea, and then you are able to communicate that idea, and then you're able to unify people around that idea, and then you find people to implement that idea, then, my friend, you are actually achieving your dream this year. You have to use these 4 levels of value for your advantage, because the income level for level 4 is from $1 million to billions. The bigger your ideas, the more people they serve. And the more people you serve, the more value you will receive back from the marketplace. In level 4, all you do is focus on creating ideas that serve masses. Oh, you guys were not seeing that. But create ideas that serve masses. So do you have an idea that serves masses? By masses, we mean so many people. In our last session, I spoke about the single secret that everyone must know as far as creativity and entrepreneurship is concerned. And the highlight there was, you need a first level problem, a problem that many people have, if not everybody. If you can solve a problem that many people have, my friend, you're a billionaire. That's how billionaires are made. They are not made because they wish to become billionaires or millionaires, but they solve problems. They serve people. So how are you going to solve problems this year? How are you going to serve people? I understand most of us want to sing, want to share what we have, but how is that going to solve people's problems? Because that's ultimately the real issue. God has given you a gift, but he wants you now to store that gift, to understand that there's levels to values. You can operate at implementation, unification, communication, but you really need to operate at imagination. That's when you're actually closest to God, because now you meet the mind of God and you actually create or co-create, as I say, with him. Here's something interesting, maybe as a bonus to this presentation. The interesting relationship between imagination and communication. Do not underestimate communication. Do not underestimate the power your words have, especially if you train yourself to speak clearly, to speak accurately, and to form your thoughts clearly. Like a person who is presentable in speech, they're actually sought after. Like you don't even have to say yourself, people will come looking for you. And that's because obviously communication is divine. But here's what's interesting. God did not imagine anything into existence. The Bible doesn't say he thought and it was. But, however, God did in fact speak things into existence. So, you know what this told me? It told me that imagination is not enough. You need imagination, yes. But your ideas, as great as they are, will not help anybody if they cannot be clearly communicated. So like these two go hand in hand. In fact, all the 4 levels of value are connected to each other. Because even if you have a good idea that's clearly communicated, it also means nothing if there's no unification around it. Because as Elisa was saying, great idea, but he needs resources, he needs people, he needs a team. And speaking about a team, it's actually really non-negotiable that if you really want to achieve your dream this year, you need to learn to delegate. Because that's another divine principle we learned from Genesis, that you have to delegate and say, and be like, let us create something in our image and include a community around it and include people around it. That's how all great ideas are born, when you delegate. And you really, delegation is not giving people work that you don't want to do or work that you cannot do. Delegation at the deepest level is empowering people around you. So you know that I'm good at singing, and you are going to shoot a music video, whatever the case may be. Delegation means, hey, James, I have an opportunity for you to be part of this song. Do you want to sing? And then you delegate that to that person who can do it better. But you're not doing it because you can do it. You're giving them an opportunity to be part of this bigger project and bigger idea. So that's why delegation is at the deepest level. And then obviously, you look at the lowest one here, implementation. It's nice. You do the work, you do the video editing yourself, you do everything yourself, but it doesn't help. All the 4 levels of value must work together. There's an interesting principle that I read from this Jewish rabbi, where he says, this is my own version of what he says. If you want to go higher, it's non-negotiable that you need to hire. The reason why that's important is because it's a principle that God established. Because imagine if you could do everything by yourself, then you won't need anybody. And God doesn't want that. God wants us to be united, work together. So even in the systems or the principles of success, God has ordained that for you to truly, really be successful, it's going to take a village. It's going to take a community of people around you working together and making sure everything is always going amazing. So I think I've spoken too much already. Do you have any questions, insights, or anything you want to address before I wrap up here?
I think I'm good so far.
All right. Do you see how it connects to your current dream?
Sure does.
Sure does? Okay. Really glad, really glad. And maybe in closing, I'm going to share one more thing here that I was planning to share with you all. Let's do it this way. And that's this notion that ignorance, you've all heard the term ignorance is bliss, right? But the reason why these sessions are so important, guys, is because no, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is like a cancer. Ignorance is what destroys you. What you don't know costs you too much, and what you don't know ends up destroying you. In my thinking, I think knowing is a fundamental human right. The right to know, because we are creatures of conscience. We are creatures of comprehension and awareness. We want to know what's going on. The thing that's synonymous to not knowing is, at all levels really, is synonymous to really being dead. Because a person who is dead does not know. That's the major distinction between a person who is dead and one who is not. The one who is alive knows. The one who is dead does not know. So, like, treasure information, treasure truth. Like, if you want to use the biblical stories here, Jesus is the one who says, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So, meaning that the truth you don't know, if you don't know the truth about something, you are actually in bondage. So meaning, if you don't know the truth about money, the chances that you'll be in bondage in that area is like maybe 90%. If you don't know about marriage, if you don't know about education, if you don't know about life, then chances are you're going to be a victim of circumstances. Because people are not nice out there. People want to use other people and abuse them and make profits of them. So if you don't know, There's this actually funny example when it comes to most jobs, right? Like when they make an offer to you, they tell you like, okay, we're going to give you $40,000 a year, let's say. But when they're saying that, they're not saying that because that's like the actual value that you provide to them. They're trying, or they try their best to tell you the lowest amount possible. And if you agree to it, they're like, okay, sure. She agreed or he agreed to it, and you move on. But when you negotiate now, when you know that actually you deserve more, let's say, and they say, no, I'm not taking that. I need this amount. Then you negotiate, and then you're able to be free in the area of your expertise. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. But since I've spoken too much already, I want to thank you guys for joining. And maybe I'll open the floor to like the official time for questions and answers. And maybe if you have questions about what's next, I'll be happy to share that with you all. How many of you guys learned something new today? Or you already knew this?
I sure did learn something new. Very, very unexpected content, I should say.
Oh, how?
I appreciate every learning opportunity. When I can, I do take that opportunity when it shows up, because there's always that chance that, yes, you will learn something new. There's always also the chance that you might know something, but there's another perspective to it. And sometimes you attend, you give time to that opportunity, and you realize it was very unexpected, because I don't know because I think there's another person here, but I don't know if this is what they were expecting. But honestly, this is not what I was expecting.
What were you expecting?
Yeah, like I was not expecting us to talk about millionaires and billionaires, and like I was thinking more of, okay, we're here to learn to create.
I hear you.
So it's a different level of understanding of creating, add some depth to how you can level up. But when I joined, my understanding was, okay, I'm joining and I'm about to learn how to create, how to level up, and how to, and stuff like that. No, I'm going to learn how I find myself in the range of 100,000 to 250,000 a year. That's not what I was expecting. I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's just me, but my project is not, it's not money driven. It's a passion and something, because of the work I do, it's something I'm realizing that it needs to be talked about. So
yes,
it's not money driven, but at the same time, it would also be nice to make some money. Oh, it's a snowball. But when I came here, I was like, okay, we're going to learn how to create. Okay. This is what we're doing. But this is a different level of understanding that if, and the other things, although it's not money driven, I've also learned a few things of how and why we create, and how to create, how to engage the masses, how to use our imagination and stuff like that. Yeah. And really, I think when there's motive, things do go well. I'm starting to think maybe that's what's lacking with me. Maybe I need maybe I need a little bit of the money motive for me to really do my work. I need to be like, okay, I need to be in the communication level.
You are in the communication.
Yeah, I need to be in the communication level and then see if I can make a few bucks. Maybe that should move me back. Yeah, it was very unexpected, but it was very good. You learn, like I said, you learn a thing or two, and I've learned a lot. I didn't even know there was those levels of value, because I am a person. I'm a person who has lived and known that value is what, and this is just like life in general. I think value is the basis of our existence.
Right.
So it's good to learn how to increase my value.
That's right. And you're right. It's not really about the money, because it's about the value, and value, like money is just the result of value. Like money only comes in response to the value you're working at. And I wanted to talk about money today because I find it to be one of the things that cripples creators, because they have all these great ideas, but then they don't have the resources to actually fund them, do them. But what they don't realize is that they actually have the gold mine of making enough to sustain themselves, but also fund their projects. And really, I've come to learn over the years that growing up, we have almost a negative connotation to business and even money. But like, business is not trying to steal people's money. Business is helping people with their problems. And then the money they give you is a thank you note to say, thank you for providing this service. And I think that's the best relationship that you can have as a creator, because now you're free. You have more time to work on what you really want to work on. And at the same time, you're helping people. Business is the only transaction that benefits both participants mutually. Like, we both get something out of it. And I think it's an amazing and powerful arrangement. So yeah, that's why we had to talk about money. And I wish I had more time to go deeper into the beliefs we have about money that cripple us and prevent us from actually achieving the dreams we have. But so far, I think we have a good foundation. We're going to have one more session where we dive deep into actual creation. So we'll be looking at God's blueprint of creation, how God created, and how we can also emulate that. And from January 16th, let me unshare my screen here. From January 16th, we're going to be having free one-on-one brand sessions to go deeper into your particular project. So let's say you want to do singing for YouTube, or you want to do content for YouTube, then I'll be happy to provide free guidance on that using the brand strategy, which is the Genesis blueprint anyways, that we use, and make sure that your business or your creative enterprise or project is actually going to be successful. So we have to check it to say, are you really solving a problem? How can we do it better and all that? Excited about that. Please do go to the website, neothegreatest.com, for all details there. If you haven't signed up for the Level Up network and community, be sure to do that, because this community, this network, is actually what will most likely change your net worth this year. Because net worth is found in networking. We are people creatures. People is really the name of the game. If life is about people ultimately, and purpose, as we saw the other day, is about helping other people. If you help someone else, if you become obsessed about solving someone else's problems, they will give you everything that they want to give you as a thank you. So I think I'll stop here for now before I keep going on forever. Elizabeth, any comments or questions?
No, I just appreciated how you were able to go deep into those values, and I swear I'm always stuck implementation.
Yeah, I mean,
and unification. So I can see communication is important, but also imagination.
right.
We lack imagination because we may have the idea of what we want to do, but imagination has to be there in order to have something very important to give to people. Michael, you're hurting me.
Michael is using implementation.
I have to use my imagination to stop him. So I really appreciate. I will look forward to join that community that you mentioned.
Yes.
I want to learn.
Okay. So what we'll do tonight then is, since everybody's in the group and this is our second session, I'll open up the floor for everybody to introduce themselves in the WhatsApp group and tell us what's their biggest dream and what support they're looking for. And then as we go along the way, we're going to outsource each other and help each other achieve our dreams together. Because if there's something I've learned is, even God did not say, let me create man in my image, but he said, let us create man in our image. So community is big. You cannot do it alone. Even God is not alone, right? So that's the idea. Thank you so much for joining, guys. And I'll see you in the network.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.